Daily News. I have the pleasure of being here today with Gary Jenkins, who is running for 3rd Ward for Portsmouth, Ohio. Nice to see you this evening, Gary.
Nice to see you, Betty. Glad to be here.
You had a nice little ice cream social this evening?
Yes, had a great turnout. Had a lot of people here. Very excited to see the enthusiasm in my campaign. I love it.
Good. Well, let's get this show on the road.
Absolutely.
What I would like to start out with, and again, just to be fair, because we just talked to Andy Cole on Wednesday. So, same questions I asked him, I'm going to kind of ask you the same. What got you interested, or maybe in cliche, what got you interested in running for this position?
So, a good friend of mine, Colin Finn, we were sitting down at the Republican headquarters one evening. I worked for the Ohio Republican Party, and Colin and I were sitting there, and we were talking about some of the issues within the city, and I was rather upset with several things going on. And Colin kind of looked at me, sort of funny, and he said, "Gary, why don't you run for city council and fix these issues?" And I kind of gave him a weird look, because at the time I was 17 years old, and I'm still rather young. But Colin said, "No, go after it, pursue it." I said, "Well, isn't Kevin Johnson going to be seeking re-election?" And he says, "Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard he might not be." And I said, "Well, let's just see what happens. We'll kick it around." And lo and behold, he decided he wasn't going to run. So then I prayed about it, spoke with my family, and I was led in this direction. And very glad that I was. It's been such a humbling experience so far.
Well, and here's the thing too, this race has been close. Is this something you want to get out to the public as far as what differs you from your opponent?
I'm the conservative candidate. I'm a conservative Republican candidate for City Council in your 3rd Ward. I'm endorsed by the Young Republicans, the Sauter County Young Republicans. I'm endorsed by the Shawnee State College Republicans, the vice chairman at the state level, the Young Republicans Confederation. They've endorsed me as well, Taylor Armstrong, and we are currently securing the endorsement from the Sauter County Republican Party. That'll go up for vote next month, and we plan to secure that endorsement as well. So there's no question that what sets us apart is my opponent leans a little bit more on the liberal side than I do, and I am the conservative candidate, and that's the difference between Andy and I.
And it sounds like you got a lot of merit right now running behind you.
Yes.
If you are chosen for 3rd Ward, what is the first thing that you would want to accomplish?
So the very first thing I want to accomplish is I'd like to see more funds allocated for roads. Right now in the city of Portsmouth, there's only $400,000 a year allocated for roads. If you do the math on that, it'll be about 100 years before our main city roads are paved, and about another 175 years before our alleys and those other roads are paved. That is unacceptable. In fact, I would consider that a infrastructure crisis. If we do not secure more funds for roads or grant money for roads, we're going to have a real infrastructure crisis on our hands in the very near future. Roads should be repaved about every 20 years, and we're looking at 175. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. Good going. Thank you. This job does require a lot of your time, and I know you just spoke about family. How do they feel, again, about you taking this position?
So my family, again, anybody who has ever sought public office knows that running for public office is a family job. Your whole family has to be invested in this process. If they're not, you will fail, and your constituents do not have as much access to you. I feel that if your whole family, when a city councilman takes a seat, they should be able to call your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, and call on those people to help guide you and to help reach out to you and to serve the community as a whole. I feel that it's a family job. Okay. And they love the idea. In fact, my step-grandfather was a commissioner over in Greenup County, so we're not unfamiliar with the whole idea of politics. It comes natural to the family.
Okay. Again, you have an opponent in this election. You guys have, it's been pretty close. I mean, you guys...
Closer than I'd like.
Right. So on that take, and you guys are going to be in, this is considered 3rd Ward where we're at right here.
This is actually a little bit outside of 3rd.
Is it out there? Oh, is
just
it?
A little bit.
Okay.
Just a little, I believe we're
actually
5th.
Right inside Mountain Park right now, so people want to know where we're at.
Yes, we're in Mountain Park. So, but no, we're right here. Right
so working with, well, I guess I'll lead into it this way. So working with City Council, do you see any opposition there?
So I've always been able to reach across the aisle, and the reality is the campaign trail is a lot different than a meeting room. On the campaign trail, I lean more conservative. I tout my Republican endorsements, and I'm proud of them because I am a conservative Republican. However, I realize that if I can't reach across the aisle and compromise, I will not succeed on city council because they don't lean conservative. And I have the abilities to bring ideas to the table and to compromise with these people to achieve better things for the city. Because at the end of the day, Republican, Democrat, red, white, blue, green, purple, anybody who runs for city council wants to see a better Portsmouth. Okay. Because running for public office isn't for the timid, it isn't for the weak. It's for someone who cares because they don't do it. I don't do it for the paycheck. I don't know anybody who'd do it. Paycheck's not there. You've got to do it because you care, because your heart's in the right place. And I think with that mindset and with the mindset of those on city council, we can achieve great things together.
Well, and so I'm going to lead into this. Third and fourth ward are usually more higher rates of crime in Portsmouth. What do you think you can do to make your neighbors feel safer, or what do you think you can do to make a difference there?
Well, I think we need more community involvement, and we absolutely need more community involvement. We need to have stricter enforcements in our parks. A lot of what I see is the crime here in the parks. As supporters were coming up to my ice cream social here at Mound Park today, we found 3 needles. If our parks aren't safe, then our kids are growing up in this atmosphere that grows crime. That grows crime, and they see that people are using drugs, they see people doing drugs, they see prostitutes, they see all these things. We must clean our parks up first to install this mindset in children that this is how we should act as citizens, and we should have more law enforcement in parks, more of them around parks to keep our parks safe, because that's going to build a brighter tomorrow. And I'm not embarrassed to say I was in the middle of my speech, and a gentleman, a younger kid, who was probably 13, 14, he stood outside the door and he cussed me out, and he threw his finger in the air, we'll put it that way. And the kid didn't know me at all. I don't know the kid.
Right.
But that's not his. It is his fault, but it's also the fault of the environment he was pushed out of. And I think we need to change our youth before we can change the future. They are the future. That's how we change the future.
So I am going to add that in. I know you have worked with a lot of young adults, so maybe that connection may help there.
A lot of people say that my youth is my downfall, but I think that my youth is my biggest strength. And a lot of people at home might be scratching their heads when I say that. But what I mean by that, I have the ability to connect to the younger audience in a way that there's no other city councilman can. And that's the future. Bringing people into the area and keeping them here, people who are growing up, our best and brightest, they want to leave. Mm-hmm. They want to leave. Valedictorians of all of our high schools, they leave. And I think if the city had more to offer the intelligent youth of today, they would say, we got a great college here. Sometimes they'll go through the college and they'll leave. We need opportunities for the youth today. We need our cleaner parks and a safer environment for the children. And it starts with maintenance of the parks and security in our parks.
Oh, good. All right, so we're going to try to wrap this up.
I'm sorry I'm windy, Betty.
No, you're fine. Hey, we got to know, And I said this in the last interview, I'm more in the outskirts of Scioto County, but I do come into Portsmouth, and, so we want to see those changes. We want to see those differences. And
that's the thing. No matter where you live in Scioto County, Portsmouth is the heart and soul of the county. Our courthouse is here. Mm-hmm. If the city doesn't thrive, it drags the county down. It's really unfair to the citizens out in the county to not have a thriving, successful, and have a secure infrastructure here in the city of Portsmouth, because it drags the county down. And we need to be working in tandem. And I'm endorsed by Scioto County Commissioner Kathy Coleman because she does feel that I have that ability to bring a connection between the city and the county like never been done before.
Right. And that's great to know. It's a good honor. Okay, so you see all these coffee mugs all around the county, even in the governor's office.
Yes, I love them. I've got one on my desk. In fact, I have one on my desk.
So you know exactly what I'm going to. How can you make Scioto County better?
Well, infrastructure. Infrastructure, 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 and our youth. And if we can secure infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, if we have some of the leading infrastructure in the state, and if we can change the mindset of the youth, we as a city can do anything we want. But we've got to have the infrastructure to support economic development, and we've got to have the youth to be here to facilitate the economic development and to use the infrastructure. And we have to have that vibrant. I truly believe that Portsmouth is a beautiful and vibrant place. We're just plagued with an abundance of serious problems, but the potential's still here.
What do you think as a councilman you could do to bring, because I'm wrapping this up, guys, just so you guys know where I'm going at with this with Gary, but where do you feel that you can bring new business to the area or improve the business in the area? I mean, we got Chillicothe Street that's set with a lot of empty buildings.
So, right now we've got a lot of empty buildings because the city of Portsmouth is not implementing business-friendly policies. The city must be more business-friendly and have the infrastructure. Businesses all the time, I come into the area and they send spotters into the area. They look for things like, water, roads, sewer. And when these spotters come in, they might even stay a month to look at the area to move a potential business here. And if they're not pleased, they don't stay. And I had the opportunity to sit down with the Economic Development Director, Robert Horton, in the county. And he said, they come to the county and they're pretty happy, but then they go into our city. And they speak with shop owners. They do all these little things. And they talk about how difficult. A lot of times they'll speak to shop owners and they'll say, well, it was so difficult for us to open our shop here because the city has this in place. Or the building that we moved into wasn't properly inspected. The city had been dropping the ball on that for several years. They didn't have a structural engineer on their staff and they were approving buildings.
Wow, okay.
We had fronts of our buildings fall off
Right.
on one of the busiest streets in our city. It was because it wasn't being properly checked. Businesses that look at that, they don't want to move into the area. Right. We must fix those. It's a bunch of little things that will bring jobs and economic development into the area, and that's what Portsmouth needs.
So this last part, and you can look right at the audience and tell them, what's that last bit of information you want to get out there to them?
Here's the reality. I'm running for city council because I care about the city of Portsmouth. The city of Portsmouth is a beautiful and vibrant place to live, but we are plagued with an abundance of serious problems. It starts with securing the grant funding because our city is in fiscal watch. We do not have the funds to pursue some of the necessary infrastructure developments that is necessary to support economic development. We need to go after grants not for beautification projects, but for the infrastructure, our water, our sewer, and our roads. And once we do that, we'll bring economic development into the area and we'll bring jobs. Like the Field of Dreams says, if you build it, they will come. And I believe that if we build it, they will come. And that's my message.
All right, thank you. It was good to speak with you this evening. Again, it was very nice to see the ice cream social. That was a nice neighborly event. So again, this is Betty Smith of Scioto County Daily News. And from all of us at Scioto County Daily News, where progress inspires change, thank you and good evening. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.